Right. I'll come back to both my guests. Now, Pakistan's package to Saudi Arabia reportedly includes a full squadron of around 16 JF-17 fighter aircrafts jointly developed by Pakistan and China, along with 2 squadrons of drones and the HQ-9 air defense system, which I was telling you about, viewers. All the equipment is being operated by Pakistani personnel and financed by Saudi Arabia. The report also quotes one Pakistani government source who had seen the confidential defense pact, claiming it allows for up to 80,000 Pakistani troops to be deployed in Saudi Arabia if needed. So we are, of course, talking about that confidential pact. But Ambassador Gupta, now this is all related to the war. We've discussed this, but I do want to understand from you, with all of the developments and the stand that Trump is still taking on not backing down at all, how do you see the war progressing?
Vaisali, in my assessment, the President Trump will not agree on anything less than, complete abandonment the nuclear enrichment process. Now, Iran is not going to agree that they will abandon the enrichment process, and therefore there is no meeting ground between the two. This is the major problem. If Iran agrees not to enrich, further the uranium, then things can be settled. But I don't think Iran will agree, and President Trump will not accept anything less than that. And the question of 450 kilogram enriched uranium up to 60% is also one of the ticklish issues, but that can be tackled because that can be handed over to Russia. Russia has already indicated on that, and I think ultimately America may accept it. But as of now, this is the most ticklish issue on which Iran is absolutely adamant. They want to retain their right to enrichment. They want to retain their right to make a nuclear bomb. On the other hand, President Trump is absolutely determined not to allow that. So I have a feeling that after a while, when the possibility of negotiations will completely stop, then the missiles will again come into action. I think US will again send a lot of missiles, and perhaps this time a very heavy bombardment will happen on Iran, and that can prolong the entire crisis and make it a very I would say dangerous situation for the entire world, because Iran will then attack all the GCC states, and the nuclear and the crude energy and the other energy resources will be damaged considerably, and damaged for in terms of long-term repair and maintenance, and therefore the energy supply will reduce drastically if that happens. So to me that looks a real possibility today, and President Trump has already said that the entire thing is on life support and the time is ticking. He has used certain words which are indicating that he is preparing to attack Iran again, and it will not be the same operation. It would be a new operation, because under US law he cannot restart that earlier operation. It would be requiring the Congress approval, and therefore he will call it a completely new attack, and that will enable him to avoid the congressional approval. So I have a feeling that he may not send the ground troops. If the ground troops are sent, that will be only for that Kharg Island, not anywhere else. But otherwise, in my view, there's a big possibility of missile attack and attack by fighter aircrafts on Iranian targets in the coming months, in the coming weeks, in fact, not months.
Right, Ambassador Gupta. And Major General Mathur, considering Pakistan's a very flippant country, you can't really trust them with what they say or do. Now, this is an interesting development that I want to share with our viewers, and I'll come back to you. Now, Pakistan's UN Ambassador Asim Iftikhar Ahmed has stated that Islamabad's international partnerships, including its defense pact with Saudi Arabia, reflects its growing global importance following Pakistan's May 2025 conflict with India. He made the comment at an event in Brooklyn organized by the Pakistani community, and look at the way Major General Mathur, Pakistan is plugged it in and given itself again, is gloating in all of what it's doing. What do you have to say for that?
Vaishali, look, I will go back slightly to the deployment of these troops. If Pakistan deploys any troops out of Pakistan, this creates a strategic imbalance in favor of India when it comes to Indo-Pak the power balance. One. Two, they are already at some kind of a war with Afghanistan. So under those circumstances, if Pakistan decides to send 80,000 troops to Saudi Arab, that means it is very, very clear that they have been given exact assurance that the world will make sure, world meaning their Akas will make sure that India does not do any adventure in Pakistan, and that is how they will be able to remove so many troops. I can guarantee you 80,000 troops gone from Pakistan would mean Pakistan stand, in any case they stand nowhere in front of India. It will spell a disaster for them, for their strategic balance. True. Second issue, they see, again I will use the same word, Vaishali, the clobbering which they have got, because of which they have to hide themselves behind this narrative, false narrative making. And they know it, the world knows it. All their actions that are taking place post that Operation Sindoor, the kind of defeat they suffered, all these things are there intended only to make sure that, you see, you hear the Wasim Munir talking, you hear the Prime Minister talking. Each time they have to talk, they give a very, very implicit nuclear threat. When they have said, and Wasim Munir has said any number of times, the latest speech of Wasim Munir, if you listen to that, it very clearly says that our things will be this, that, and the other. Very clear, implicit nuclear threat they are giving to India. And one thing is very, very clear, that Pakistan's this activity which is taking place, wherever it's taking place, is trying to create a sort of thing of the lost ground during Operation Sindoor, not the importance Pakistan has gained. Pakistan has been dumped by both US and Iran, and Pakistan knows it. They are nowhere as far as I am concerned. Vaishali.
Absolutely, Major General Mathur, very well said. And as always, it's a pleasure speaking to you and Ambassador Gauri Shankar Gupta. Thank you both for joining me on Newsx. And that's a wrap from me, viewers. Thank you so much for watching. But stay with us, because coming up on the other side is my colleague and senior editor, Devika Diwan. Stay with us.